blame anybody else for your fuck up, okay? So number one, you have to acknowledge it. Whatever it is, you have to say, I messed up and I've got to fix it now. I fucked up bad. What's going on, guys? Look, this just happened and I need to share it with you. About half an hour ago, I just finished having my super healthy lunch, right? I had some, sardines with lots of vegetables and sweet potato and pumpkin and carrot. It was all good, right? It was really, really healthy. And I was feeling good about myself. And I was like, oh yeah, you know, it was a good lunch as always. I'm pretty happy with it. And then what happened is my housemate came home and she's like, hey, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, I just finished lunch. She goes, oh, well, I actually just brought this stuff home from my friend who's a baker. Do you want some? I was like, oh, yeah, sure, what's in it? And so she pulled out the bag and there was a couple of things in there. The first two things were croissants, right? She had a blueberry croissant and an apricot croissant. And both of the croissants were filled with cream down the bottom, right? No, not cream, custard, a nice hard custard down the bottom. And I was like, oh, that looks pretty good. And then she also had two pizza rounders. So pretty much it's like, you know, the big circle things where you got ham, cheese, bacon, all those little things over the top, right? You can eat it. And I was like, wow. And bread's actually one of my weaknesses. I don't have it a lot because I know it's a trigger food for me. And so she's like, hey, do you want a little bit? I'll leave it at the table. You can have it all. I'm like, no, I'm not going to have it all. She goes, oh, well, have what you want and then put it in the fridge and have it later. I was like, okay, cool. So it's like, you know what, I'm just going to grab a little bit of croissant. Started chewing on it a little bit as I was at the computer. Started eating a little bit more of the croissant. I was like, wow, this is actually really good, especially the cream. I was like, oh, the custard. I was like, yum, yum. So I kept eating a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. And then you know what happened? It was gone. I was like, wow, this is really, really good. And then I was like, oh, I'm going to have a little bit more of the second one. Then I started eating a little bit more of the croissant. Then I started eating a little bit more and a little bit more. And then you know what happened? I ended up getting through that one too. And I was like, man, and I was like, oh, like it was like I was on crack, right? It tasted really, really good. And I was like, oh, this actually tastes so nice. And then I started on the ham and cheese sandwiches, right? So I had the first one, the ham and cheese pizza rounder. So I had the first one, and I was like eating it, and it's like I could not fucking stop myself. It's like I was on crack. And then I ate the first one, and then I ended up eating the second one. So I ended up eating 2 whole croissants filled with custard and blueberries and apricots, and then I had the 2 ham and cheese, and honestly, I did not know what the hell happened, and I was like, oh my god. And then, you know, as soon as I finished eating it, that's when the guilt happens. And you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. When you start to feel bad, when you're like, oh, and then you start, you know, once you eat that shitty food, you start to get a shitty mindset, and you start to realize, you start to think, you start to beat yourself up, you start to tell yourself that you're a failure and you're fucked up, and there's so many things you start telling yourself, right? But at the end of the day, you can fix your fuck-ups, okay? And this is what I want to talk about. Number one is the first thing you want to do once you fuck up is you need to acknowledge it. Now, I could have blamed my housemate, I could have blamed something else, I could have put that in the fridge, I could have done anything, but instead what I did was I ate that food, and now I have to own it. You cannot blame anybody else for your fuck-up, okay? So number one, you have to acknowledge it. Whatever it is, you have to say, I messed up and I've got to fix it now, okay? So once you acknowledge it, then you can make an effort to fix it, okay? So always, always, always take responsibility for your messing up, for your fucking mistake, and you need to accept it. This is a reminder not just to you, this is to me, because I've got to accept this too, right? Number two is now you can make a decision about what you're going to do next. How are you going to fix this fuck up? Because you do not get fat overnight. One day of bad eating is not going to make you fat. You need to remember that. So what you can do is, right now it is 2:28 p.m, okay? I've got the rest of the day to fix this up. Now, because I ate so much food, I don't have to eat for the rest of the day. I'm not gonna die if I don't eat for the rest of the day. And honestly, I've eaten all the calories I need to eat. So I don't need to eat any more calories. And you can fix it. If you fuck up at breakfast time, if you fuck up at lunchtime, you can fix it up for the rest of the day. You need to be able to remember that. Do not stress about, all right, well, what am I gonna do for the rest of the day? I've blown out today, I'm gonna keep going, because that is just leading for disaster. So do not do that. If you mess mess up at 12 o'clock, if you mess up at 6 o'clock in the morning, whenever you mess up, you have got the power to do the rest of the day. So do not throw it away, okay? And then, like I said, if you fucked up, if it's night time and you've eaten all your food for the day and then you mess up at dinner, then you fix it up the next day, because you're not going to get fat over one day of overeating, all right? So tomorrow, what you can do is you can say, all right, I'm going to eat a little bit less food. Instead of having all my carbs and all my fats and stuff like that, I'm going to focus on lean sources of protein, and I'm going to have my vegetables, and that's all I'm going to have. You don't need to have anything else. And so you've got to have the self-discipline to fix your fuck up, okay? That's like I'm saying tomorrow, I don't need to go and stress out about anything else because I'm fixing it up today. I've got the afternoon to not eat anything else. But if you, on the other hand, had dinner and you need something and you need to fix it up tomorrow, then you need to make an action plan about how you're going to do it. Because one day, like I said, one day of bad eating is not going to make you fat. It's what happens. If you stuff up today, then you go, you know what, it's Wednesday, stuff it. I'm going to start next week. I'm just going to eat like shit. That is what's going to mess you up. If it's the weekend and you mess up on a Friday and you go, you know what, I'm going to fix it up on Monday, you've just done 3 days worth of bad work, and it's very, very hard to undo. So instead of messing up for 3 days, you've messed up for 1 day, you accept it and you start taking action immediately. And that means cut out the carbohydrates, cut out the fats that you have, and just stick to your lean protein and vegetables the next day to fix up what you did the day before, all right? It's very, very simple. Those two simple things you can do enable you to allow you to not gain the body weight, alright? So number one, you need to admit when you fuck up, what happened, and you need to be able to say, that was all because of me. No other, don't blame anybody else. As much as you want to, when you start taking responsibility for yourself, it's going to be so much more beneficial, I promise you that, alright? That's the first thing you want to do. Admit to your mistake, own your mistake, and say, I'm going to fix it up from there. Number two, make an action plan on what you're going to do. Are you going to eat? Are you not going to eat for the rest of the day? Are you going to fix up the day tomorrow? Are you going to stick to just lean protein and health and vegetables? That's all you want to think about. Do those two things. You will not get fat over 1 day of overeating. It's what happens over the week. Don't let one day throw you off. And remember, shitty food equals a shitty mindset. Because right now, I'm thinking so negatively about myself. I'm telling myself I stuffed up. But at the end of the day, you say, you catch that mindset, boom, no, I'm not going to think like that. I can fix this up. I can take action tomorrow. I can take action for the rest of the day. I've got the power to get the body I want, and I just have to take one step at a time. That is just what I want to share with you guys, because I know how hard it can be. I just put myself in this mindset, and I want to share with you exactly what I do. Alright, speak to you guys soon.